Hello everyone. So today we'll be learning about the corporate wheel, lifting up of corporate wheel. So in case if you have not watched my previous video about corporate personality, please do watch that first, then come back here. Only then you'll understand something rather than nothing. So that's a very important message I want to share it to you before I start. So now let's understand what is this corporate wheel, lifting up of corporate wheel. So now you all need to understand that. That means that this is the image, okay? Now if you observe this image, now this is the company, all right? This is the company and this is the members of the company, okay? This is a corporation, this is the members of the company. For example, these are the shareholders. Now we learned until now in corporate personality, what was it? Company is different and the members of the company are different. That is, shareholders are different and members of the company are different. There's something called as limited liability. Shareholders are not responsible for all the losses of the company. We learned that in a corporate personality. But so this is basically, this is the parda, okay? This is the door which divides between shareholders and company. But at the principle of lifting up of corporate wheel, the court can basically lift this door, okay, and then make these people accountable. Got it? Make these people accountable. When? Why am I telling this? Because in corporate wheel there are many instances in which, if you understand, people might be doing mistake, because this is an artificial person. No company cannot do any act without the people part of it, but these people can do certain kind of fraud aspect. At that point of time, the corporate wheel, the court will lift this door. The corporate, through the power of corporate wheel, the court will lift this door and tell that, make these people accountable for it. So what are the four conditions for it? Now we'll try to understand through our notes. Now if you observe in the corporate wheel, first one is about fraud and misconduct. So in this case, if you observe John versus Lipman case, so Lipman made a contract with John that he will be selling his property to so and so person. Okay, he'll be selling his property to John. Lipman promised that he'll be selling his property to John. But what happened on a later date? A later date, the Lipman will do a very important act. What he'll do? He will sell that company to an a company of his own. Okay, he will sell that property to the company of his own. At that point of time, John will go to the court and tell that, see, he has violated the contract and he's basically selling to his own company, and he's telling that now he is not responsible because he has sold to his company, and these both are separate different legal personality. Now court said that, see, anyway, the main intention of the Lipman was basically to make a fraud or misconduct. As such, through the principle of corporate wheel, they made John, they made Lipman accountable for it. So through the principle, corporate wheel principle was applied. Okay. Now, in the second way is about company is a clock or a sham. So when the company itself is prepared in the name of a clock or a sham, that means that in the Guilford Motor Co. Ltd. versus Horn case, Horn was actually was an employee of a Guilford Motor Co. Company Limited. At that point of time, what will happen? This Horn will basically do a very important act. That means Horn is actually the member of whom? Guilford Motor Company Limited. Horn will actually basically sign an agreement with Guilford Motor Company that stating that, see, none of your clients I'll be approaching for any of my personal gains. It is already mentioned as terms of contract of agreement when he has already signed it with Guilford Motor Company. Later date, Horn will start his own separate company and he'll start approaching the clients of Guilford Motor Company. See, look at the crookedness. He will start his own company and then he will start approaching the clients of Guilford Motor Company. That time, these people will come to know and then they'll file a case. And that is called Guilford Motor Co. Ltd. versus Ltd. versus Horn case. The court applied the principle of corporate lifting up of corporate wheel and made Horn liable, and even Mr. Company was held liable, and both were charged with injunction. Okay, and then he had to pay compensation of fine for it. Now, third thing is about evasion of tax and avoiding welfare legislation. So, guys, this is company, this is shareholders. At some point of time, in order to escape from the tax, these people will even create multiple other companies, and then they will start depositing their tax in these kind of companies. Okay, all these different kind of companies. At that point of time, what they're doing, they're trying to escape from paying the taxes. Got it? These people are escaping from paying the taxes, and at that point of time, through the principle of corporate wheel, by applying lifting up of corporate wheel, they can basically make this shareholders liable. I'll give you an example. Okay, so shareholders, what they'll do in order to escape from paying of the taxes, what they'll do, they'll start depositing in other particular companies. Okay, or in order to escape from their own um, tax basis, they'll be starting depositing their own company basis. At that point of time, to lifting of corporate wheel, they can make all these people responsible. Simply they'll be telling that company is responsible, but with the help of corporate wheel, we can make these people also accountable. So Condolia Tea Estate and Co. Ltd case, I wanted to research in my corporate personality case, very importantly, about this case I've mentioned about tax, about to exam, to run away from the tax. What did these people do? I've already mentioned in my corporate personality video. Please do watch that video, because I've explained in detail. I want to know what you understood about that particular video, and then do let me know in the comments. That's your homework for today. Now the fourth important aspect is determination of enemy character. That means that if India is in war with Pakistan, the Pakistan people who are there in India, they are considered to be an enemy citizens. They are considered to be an enemy citizens. Now this I'll be explained to you in the form of a case. All right. So this I'll be explaining to you in the form of a case. So actually, Daimler Co. Ltd. versus Continental Tire and Co. Rubber Co. Limited. Daimler versus Continental Tire Company Limited. Okay. In this case, the German citizens, they started their own company called as Tire and Rubber Manufacturing Company. Okay. So they was manufacturing all this tire and manufacturing stuff they was doing. Now these German citizens, they set one of their own base in England also. They kept one of the England, the same base itself. Base means what? One of the branches even in England, and they named the company as Daimler Co. Limited. And in this company, there was only, this company is where now? It's in England or Africa? It's in England. Okay, there was only one shareholder from England. Remaining all the shareholders was from which place? They're all from Germany. Okay, got it. Very simple. German citizens, they had already this company. They set one more base in England. And what happened? There was only one shareholder from England. Remaining all were actually run by Germans. Now these people used to do always a transaction dealing with Continental Tire and Rubber Co. Limited, because they used to buy tires, everything. They used to do transaction with them. Okay. At that point of time, they gave their tire to everything for them, and one stage they had to return the amount back to this Daimler Co. Ltd. It was their time to return back the amount to them. At that point of time, the Continental Tire Company Limited said that they're not going to give any money. Why? Because now war is happening during World War One. Right? There was a war between Germany and England. At that point of time, they decided not to give any money to this particular company, stating that during war we're not supposed to pay any war. If we pay money, it will be considered that we are supporting our enemy country. So we are not going to pay any kind of amount for it. Okay, so not going to give any amount during the war. Now Continental Tire and Rubber Co. Ltd., these people, what did they do? They basically said they're not going to pay. So their court applied the principle of corporate will. They applied the principle of corporate will. And then what did they tell? And then they said that, very importantly, kindly note, they said very clearly, I want you to listen very carefully. They said that court interpreted the values and said that the company is not liable to pay now. They can pay it later after the war, but during the war, they're not supposed to pay it. So the court applied even the corporate will principle over it. That's all. So guys, I hope you understood about Lotus lifting up of corporate will. Four important aspects. One is fraud or misconduct. Then company can be clock or a sham. Then for evasion of the taxes. The fourth is about determination of an enemy character. And we learned four cases. John versus Lipman, Guilford Motor Co. Limited versus Horn. And then we learned about Daimler Co. Ltd. versus the Continental Tire and Rubber Co. Ltd. Okay, that's all. That's all for today's video. If you like it, please do like, share, and subscribe. And do let me know your views in the comments. I'll be much happy to give you more insights and more videos like this. Okay, and do the homework and do let me know in the chat box.